Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Rachel. Today I wanted to bring about a few subjects that I've noticed popping up a lot mainly from the left to the right, especially in young people. I am a young person, I'm about 18 years old. I am 18 years old, over 18 now. Something I have seen, as I have a lot of younger friends, obviously from school and other areas of my life I've met, jobs, whatever. Of course, a lot of my young friends are leftists. Doesn't make me love them any less, but a few flaws in their statements they've been posting, flaws in their ideology that's been really surfacing lately due to a lot of things, or I guess I've noticed out of a lot of things I've seen being posted. So the first thing I'm gonna kind of get into is the comparison of two very disheartening situations, but the comparing them for political gratification or whatever you might call it, leverage. Now, granted, these are just things I'm seeing posted from my friends that they're not influencers, they're not content creators, whatever. One of the things I've really been seeing in particular, I've seen posted by one of my friends recently, which really gets under my skin, is the comparison of, this was a literal post I saw, kids are dying in war, why do we care about an important white man being killed? That man being Charlie Kirk. Now, the reason you cannot compare situations like this, and it's a huge flaw in ideology, is because you could say that about anything. Let's say you have a situation where a woman and a man are in a relationship, and that man, he gets drunk one night, he slaps his girlfriend or his wife, whatever it may be, whoever she may be to him. He slaps her, strikes her across the face. That is abusive, that is aggressive, that is a disheartening situation, that is not the right response in that situation. Now take that and take somebody comparing that situation with a situation of a man who, it's not his first time. He beats his wife or girlfriend all the time. Both situations are morally bad. You cannot compare a woman being beaten all the time versus a woman being hit or beat once. Why would you compare those? They are both bad situations and they both deserve light and attention brought to that subject, regardless of which one was worse. That is a very flawed ideology, to not care about something because you think something was worse, although both situations ended up in a loss of a life or more than one life. You could take this ideology and say that, well, a school shooting happened here, but a school shooting also happened here, and one of them had 3 deaths and one of them had 7. Why are we caring about the one that had 3 deaths? The one that has 7 obviously matters way more. Like, who cares, right? That's just not the way to go about it. That's not the way to go about having an opinion. It really exposes the, I don't know how else to say it, the evil, wicked nature of where our society has come to, that we're raising our children who are barely starting to learn to become functional adults in society at 18, 17, 16 years old, and they're already saying these things without understanding the flaws in what they're saying. They're not digging deeper to understand why they have these opinions. They're just kind of acting on rhetoric they've heard repeated multiple times. If you compare another parallel to this, or whatever you want to call it, let's say somebody's abusing animals. Somebody neglects their dog and leaves it outside all day on a chain. And then someone beats their dog as well. Like, 2 different situations. Which one is worse? Neither situation is worse because they are both abuse. They are both abuse of a sentient life. They are both equally as bad, but they cannot be compared because they were both equally bad in different ways. Okay? So that is my stance and my response to people who are comparing, why do we care about this white man? And they want to bring race into everything. Let's take race aside. Race has nothing really to do with this. It is more of a freedom of speech issue. You are absolutely ridiculous if you cannot see past who exactly was killed and look at more of the principle of it, right? Because the principle of it is that it's the principle of free speech, and also it is the principle of terrorism. This is like an act of terrorism on Charlie. And part of me is really speaking up about all of this because I was a follower of Charlie Kirk. Obviously, I mean, I bought his book. I had been following him for years. I feel compelled to start a channel or podcast, whatever it may turn into, because of this situation. I want everybody to understand that Charlie's death was not in vain, and those people, they're not getting what they wanted. They're not getting what they wanted at all. They are going to get absolutely opposite of what they wanted. This has made hundreds of teens, young people, and older people all turn to Christianity. This is making people stronger in their faith with God. This is not over, and they're not getting what they wanted. Moving on, don't compare situations. They're not comparable. They are both very tragic. A man gets killed for free speech and really having an opinion. Why can't we have an opinion? You cannot compare these situations. Kids get killed in school shootings. It is also equally as awful and tragic in opposite ways. These two situations have very different underlying principles. They both have completely different circumstances. It makes you sound like you have two brain cells, or maybe just 1.5, when you compare them in that way. It's not very intelligent of you. As I said, it's like comparing a woman that gets abused a different way than another woman, so that other woman's is worse. They're both abuse, right? So these are both tragic situations. No matter what side politically you're on, right or left wing, we're all part of the same bird. If you're for humanity, you are not for what happened. Humanity does not endorse that. And humanity doesn't endorse comparing these situations, saying one doesn't matter at all because another one, in your opinion, more tragic, right? So moving on, because I knew my first topic wasn't necessarily going to cover enough time for this video, another topic I wanted to talk about is leftist double standards. Now, something I have noticed since I started getting into growing up really and just getting more into media and politics is leftist double standards. These have been around forever. A great example of this is when a celebrity, most celebrities, I guess not most, but a lot of celebrities are obviously leftist. That's just how it is. A lot of them are leftist and they're very loud about that. Leftists have a ton of celebrities and a ton of people to look up to. The second a celebrity says something that the left deems as like a right-wing thing, all of a sudden I see comments and I see people saying, stick to whatever let's say they're a football player. Stick to playing football. Politics is not why I'm watching you or subscribe to you or whatever. Let's say it's a different situation, subscribe to you. Recently, a horse YouTuber that I really like came out about Charlie Kirk. Stick to making horse content. That's why I subscribe to you, whatever. You're seeing all sorts of those types of comments. But if it would have been the other way around and she said something leftist or whatever they deem as, I mean, it's not leftist to say that the situation is wrong, but let's say someone comes out that they're pro-choice, whatever it may be. They are even more followed, liked. You look at the comments, oh my god, thank you for speaking up on this. Thank you for talking about this. This needed to be talked about. They're being praised for it all over. That is a double standard. You're saying that somebody is allowed to speak out about a situation, but if it's not what you deem as your side or what you deem as politically correct, then they're evil and they have a bad opinion on it and they should be canceled and they need to stick to what they do best, which is whatever content they usually make, and they're not allowed to have an opinion on this and you should basically shut up and be silenced over it, which is absolutely ludicrous. That's a glaring double standard. It's unbelievable how many times I have seen this. Anyway, I wanted to highlight these things and talk about these things because obviously, as I said before, they're weighing on me. I'm constantly seeing posts about this. I want young people to know that there are other people out there like them, and you don't just have to be crazy leftist ideology. You can identify with people more like you know, whatever that may be. You don't have to identify or fit in with everybody else around you that's your age. You can stand up for something you believe in, and you can do that respectfully. You can respectfully have an opinion. It doesn't make me love my friends any less. I love my friends. But again, I have been abandoned by more of my leftist friends simply for my political beliefs than I have abandoned my leftist friends. I don't know what that needs to tell you. Take that how you will. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys viewing. Leave a like, maybe subscribe if you want to see more videos. I plan on posting about every week. Thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a good night.